while Iowa Republicans gathered in Ames to vote in the straw poll that really kicks off the run for the White House. Texas Governor Rick Perry was in South Carolina changing the game.
It is time to get America working again, and that's why, with the support of my family and unwavering belief in the goodness of America, I declare to you today as a candidate for President of the United States.
It has been another very tough day for this possible frontrunner.
Excuse me, gentlemen. Excuse me.
A clearly frustrated Herman Cain today appears to have had enough of the questions surrounding claims of sexual harassment, as a planned session with reporters was canceled just moments beforehand.
So don't even bother asking me all of these other questions that you all are curious about.
But are you concerned about the fact that these women do want to,
what did I say?
Wants to come forward? Are you concerned about...
Excuse me. Excuse me. What part of no don't some people understand?
And few answers today from his chief of staff.
Mark, what about the fact that this was supposed to be a press conference? We were told that there was going to be some time for question and answer with Mr. Cain, and then all of a sudden there isn't. What's the reason or the explanation on that?
Talk to J.D. Gordon.
So it was his decision on this?
Mm-hmm. What we're seeing here is Herman Cain is a first-time really candidate. When you're walking away from cameras or when you lose your temper, that doesn't work real well for voters.
At the heart of the Herman Cain controversy is Kurt Anderson, a former staffer of his 2004 Senate campaign, and who Cain accuses of leaking the story.
Obviously, you know, I don't like that he decided to use me as a pawn in this foolishness.
Cain said that Anderson, now part of Rick Perry's team, was one of only a few who knew of the harassment claims.
Not only did I not leak any information, I didn't know any information.
So you never knew of these accusations?
No, the first I knew of them was when I read them in the newspapers.
Although he mostly stayed out of the limelight today, the information continued to pour out. Reports that one former staffer received roughly $45,000 in her harassment settlement, another $35,000.
That is the D.C. culture, guilty until proven innocent.
That an interview he gave to Ginny Thomas, the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. Some now drawing parallels between the two. And in a fundraising email today, supporters labeled this the high-tech lynching of another black conservative.
I don't think that's true.
Former RNC head Michael Steele says Cain needs to gather his team, regroup, and come out with all the facts fast. Otherwise, the tension
Excuse me, gentlemen. Excuse me.
will continue to grow.
And that's what we're seeing, not necessarily the unraveling of the mystery, but the potential unraveling of his campaign.
If location is everything in real estate, in politics it's timing. And Mitt Romney is doing very well on that front tonight. There's no arguing Mitt Romney is on a roll. He's on top of the polls and predicting he can win the overall nomination. As for stealing a quick victory in Iowa, we talked to his wife, Ann.
It's interesting. You just always do your own job, and you don't worry about what else happens. And I think that's why we're so much more comfortable this time around.
His anti-Obama message is resonating with voters desperate for a new president.
I would vote for any of them, but he's the one that's, in my view, got the best chance to beat Obama.
You can see the satellite trucks here, more than I can count right here. Let me tell you, the other candidates are not drawing this kind of coverage. Romney himself has been ducking questions all day, trying to answer questions about hiring and firing during his adventures at Bain Capital and so forth. We caught up with John Huntsman this morning at Mary's Bakery and Cafe in Henniker, New Hampshire.
Awesome. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you.
How you doing, great. Sir? Only a handful of supporters were here to greet Huntsman, who's trying to sound upbeat as he battles for third place. The numbers aren't great.
They're a whole lot better than they were before. What do you mean they're not great? I'm grateful for every step up.
But it looks like Mitt Romney's going to win this thing.
That's what they always say, but you never know with New Hampshire. You can't tell till the votes are all in. Could be a surprise.
Molly Kerr is one of Huntsman's big problems. She admires him, but she's not there yet. Rick Santorum, it is fair to say, will not duplicate his stunning Iowa second-place finish.
It's not Iowa, though. Well, no, it's not Iowa, but there are a lot of good folks here and get a lot of enthusiastic response from people.
Is Santorum your man?
Yes, he is.
Why?
Because I like what he stands for.
Yeah, it's going inside.
Newt Gingrich, he is not winning many hearts here. Is he your candidate?
He is not. At least not yet, or maybe not.
Oh, you're undecided?
I'm undecided.
And Ron Paul? How are you going to do here, Doctor? If there's an enthusiasm gap among the other candidates, there is not among 76-year-old Ron Paul's youthful followers. They love his message. But despite some slippage in the polls over the past 5 days, Mitt Romney still has a commanding lead and will probably win the New Hampshire primary. But not everybody thinks he was a great governor of Massachusetts.
Can't turn the TV on without Mitt Romney being on there. And some of the things he says, I just don't like him.
The belated win in Iowa, do you think, helped you here?
I think it does. Obviously would have helped me 2 weeks ago a lot better than it helped me today, but maybe, I don't know, maybe the people of South Carolina are looking at this saying, hey, wait a minute, this guy can win. This guy knocked off the giant and stopped the inevitable Romney. And
I believe it'll come down to the wire, but I really enjoyed some of the things that Mr. Santorum had to say today.
Candidates are not stopping. They will be pushing well into tonight and some even starting early tomorrow morning, trying to convince voters that they're the right one to choose from. We'll continue to cover that on News Channel 8 and bring it to you as it happens. The Palmetto State votes tomorrow.
Tonight is often said to be the night that can make or break a candidacy. The vote counting is already underway in South Carolina, and the candidates are waiting in the state capital of Columbia and in Charleston. Our coverage is expansive tonight. We've got reporters all over South Carolina, some behind the scenes with the candidates, others who have spent the day talking to voters. We're going to be checking in throughout the evening with all of them, including election expert extraordinaire Mike Allen, who will be joining us in just a minute. But Jim, what a huge night in presidential politics.
This rocks. I mean, for Politico, it's nights like this that make this job what it is. You know, 5 days ago, had we been having this conversation, everybody would have been talking about how this is the Mitt Romney coronation. He had won Iowa, had won New Hampshire. All the polls showed he was going to win South Carolina decisively. That's why all the smarty pants are often wrong. Now it turns out there's been a recount in Iowa. Santorum won that. Romney did win New Hampshire, and everything we're hearing from the exit polls that are about to come in officially, it looks like Newt Gingrich is going to win tonight in South Carolina.
And they call it Super Tuesday for a reason, folks. Voters in 10 states are heading out tonight to primaries and caucuses. 437 delegates up for grabs. Georgia, Ohio, and Tennessee have the most delegates at stake. And tonight, we want to remind you that you can watch us on News Channel 8, Politico.com, and very shortly on C-SPAN as well.
But I also asked Gingrich about his peers, suggesting it's time to quit.
We've heard Lindsey Graham say, you know, the fat lady hasn't sung yet, but she's certainly warming up.
Okay. I don't know if Mitt Romney wants to be considered the fat lady, but...
After the laughs, though, Gingrich admitted times are tough. Money's running out. Supporters now pay $50 a photo. Staff salaries may be cut, and never a good sign, reporters are bailing. Our interview with the president was immediately after he tried to fire up Virginia voters. He was hardly done, and when speaking to us, had just one thing on his mind: Mitt Romney's time at Bain Capital.
Mitt Romney's campaign says he left in '99. Yours says it's 2001. There's a significant difference. Is he being dishonest with the American public?
Well, here's what I know. We were just talking about responsibility, and as President of the United States, it's pretty clear to me that I'm responsible for folks who are working in the federal government. And, you know, Harry Truman said the buck stops with you.
His campaign team alleges Romney oversaw the company even after he claimed to leave during outsourcing and layoffs.
Now, my understanding is that Mr. Romney attested to the SEC multiple times that he was the chairman, CEO, and president of Bain Capital. And I think most Americans figure if you're the chairman, CEO, and president of a company, that you are responsible for what that company does. Ultimately, Mr. Romney, I think, is going to have to answer those questions.
And you think he should answer that soon?
Yeah, absolutely.
It took only hours.
He sure as heck ought to say he's sorry for the kinds of attacks that are coming from his team.
Instead, they intensified Sunday with dueling ads.
Barack Obama's campaign and allies will run more negative ads against this Republican nominee in 2012 than have ever been run in the history of the world.
You're calling Mitt Romney a liar?
Well, you seem shocked by it. Yes.
Do you regret calling him a liar?
Look, we were in the middle of a very tough campaign. He said some things about me I suspect he wishes he hadn't said, and I said that in response to what he said. So I think we both agreed, you know, we slugged each other as hard as we could. We've moved on. I always tell people, compared to Barack Obama, I find it very easy to get up every morning and be enthusiastic trying to help elect Mitt Romney.
Should he release the taxes?
I think it's totally irrelevant. He's going to release a second set of taxes.
But it wasn't irrelevant in the campaign. You felt he should release them.
Well, look, there were two things I hit him with. Okay, this is interesting in terms of the Obama people. I hit him with Bain, and I hit him on taxes, and he ran over me. Now, you would think one of the things the Obama people might have said was, gee, that didn't work. Instead, I think the problem they've got is they haven't got anything to talk about.
It was a big night for Mitt Romney, and I have to tell you, this performance in this room felt confident, it felt pugnacious at times, felt emotional. But one thing's for sure, to the people who stood in this building through the entire speech, to borrow a cinematic term, he proved tonight that Mitt Romney was ready for his close-up.
We have John Harris with us in the Politico newsroom, which is about 5 blocks here. We're in Tampa Bay for the 2012 Republican National Convention. Harris, what's your take on the speech?
Romney's speech was effective because he touched every erogenous zone, if you will, that conservatives wanted touched, but did it in a way that made himself appealing and I think also resonated with a lot of independent voters.
Did he connect? Bill Clinton on steroids. I'm just a country boy from Arkansas. Absolutely. Scott Thuman and I are 7 feet tall. We play for the NBA. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, it was electric in a lot of ways, and it was interesting because it was so choreographed for maximum effect. We saw that, of course, with the president coming out at the last minute. But also, you know, this is something that's interesting. I was talking with Stephanie Cutter, deputy campaign manager, earlier today. I said, is there any concern that President Clinton will outshine President Obama? She said, we really don't have any concerns about that, but I'll tell you what, President Obama's got his work cut out for him.
He's saying, trust me. He's portraying the other side as bumbling dopes again and again. He talked about how the Republican ticket doesn't know what it's doing. He only referenced Romney once, but he said, I'm not going to turn Medicare into a voucher. I don't think that climate change is a hoax. They're in a Cold War time warp. They're new at foreign policy. He's saying, I'm the president. I know what I'm doing.
We've got 2 months left. It will be a furious race to the finish line, which now is in sight. The president hitting 3 states in the next couple of days. Mitt Romney hitting a couple as well. They'll actually cross paths in New Hampshire. Mitt Romney will be in Virginia, which we've talked a lot about. So, Leon, we are finally now at that point where we see the race laid out before us. We've seen the arguments, the final arguments to some degree. The debates lay ahead. And then, of course, November 6th.
Will be here in Virginia. President Obama recently conceded they can both get out of hand.
He seemed to admit the other day that even some of his ads may go over the line a little bit. Do you feel that that's on both sides? Do you feel that's happened with you at all?
Oh, I think his ads are a form of character assassination.
Do you feel that you've ever gone over the line?
I think our ads describe precisely what we believe about his policies.
Now, during last night's presidential debate, we debuted some brand new technology developed at the University of Maryland that allows you at home to weigh in on what you're seeing during the debates. Now, it's not exactly a scientific poll at all, but our ABC 7 Instant Reaction is a brand new tool telling what people are thinking as the debates are happening in real time.
We got a huge response, nearly 22,000 individual reactions. That's an average of 243 a minute with people using the app that you're looking at. And from those reactions that you submit on your app, we get this. This is the entire debate, what you liked, what you didn't, when you thought the candidates were dodging, when you thought they were spinning. And we can look at just what Governor Romney was saying or just what President Obama was saying. We can also zoom in at a particular moment. This was during the closing statements of the debate.
And get America's middle class working again.
While the governor was making those statements, 164 reactions came into us at WJLA.com/react that they agreed with what the governor was saying. And also tell you that at about the same time, 144 reactions were disagreeing with what Governor Romney said. So he actually got more likes during his close than the president. He also got more disagreement than the president did during his closing statement. Now, we have all of this online, and we're going to do this again during all of the debates.
Who has the momentum and why? Richard.
President Obama has the momentum. All the early vote totals show that the president's up. I'll give you a great example, Morris. I know we're running out of time. One example that you could look to is the state of Ohio. For Mitt Romney to win the state of Ohio, he has to win 57% of the votes left on the table. And with that being said, 30% of the people, the voters, have already voted. And of that 30%, they voted for the president 3-1.
So you're headed for automatic recounts. I predict this could, like 2000, go 30 days or more before we know a winner.
Would you do something differently if you look back on this race and how you've handled it so far?
Well, I think overall we've run a race that I can be proud of. Obviously, I should have probably had a few more cups of coffee before the first debate.
Yeah, Leon, this is why some precincts still haven't reported, is because this polling location at Potomac Middle School in Dumfries closed 3 hours ago, and there are still people inside voting, still people coming out saying that they have waited in line for 4 hours.
At Obama headquarters in Chicago, they are very upbeat as they watch these results come in, particularly when they have seen the numbers come in from Pennsylvania, from Wisconsin, from New Hampshire. They believe that gives them a clear path. They also say, according to some senior staff that I talked to earlier tonight, that they kind of read the tea leaves yesterday when they saw Mitt Romney in Ohio. They say that was, quote, a Hail Mary of desperation.
Actually, we're more than halfway there. NBC just called the presidential race.
Ever since the decision was announced that Obama was the projected winner, we have just seen people nonstop streaming this way and heading that way towards the White House, also almost nonstop. We've had people blaring their horns. Look at what we got coming here. Check out this convertible on the way here with these guys riding in it. That's pretty symbolic right there of the mood down here in Washington.
You know what? We did it again!
They had given up, and then something happened. Karl Rove, who all Republicans listened to, came on Fox News Channel and insisted that it was too early to call Ohio and that they should take back the call and take back the call of Barack Obama as president. This crowd loved that. They started cheering. Right now, Fox News Channel is going back and forth whether they should take back the call. Their experts are saying no, Ohio has definitely gone for Barack Obama, but there's a new sense of hope here in this room, even as the rest of the world is being told that Barack Obama has been reelected president.
See this? This is hashtag election 2012. Now, a couple of hours ago, it became the most tweeted event in U.S. history. Well over 20 million tweets talking about election 2012. There's a couple of interesting things in the last few minutes. I mean, they're going by almost faster than you can read, but there is a decent amount of buzz about what's happening over at Fox News right now with Karl Rove questioning whether or not it was appropriate to call Ohio.
I so wish that I had been able to fulfill your hopes to lead the country in a different direction, but the nation chose another leader.
I hear the commercials on both sides of the story saying the money's going to be used for schools, it's not going to be used for schools, and it seems like nothing's in writing.
So here it is in writing, according to state analysts. If question 7 passes, in 2017, it is projected casinos will bring in $1.9 billion. The casino operators can pocket $920 million. Counties, horse racing, minority business fund, and gambling regulators all get a share, and then $750 million must go to the Education Trust Fund. That's about $150 million more for schools than without question 7. But, and it's a big but, that doesn't mean per student spending increases. Don Kettle, Dean of the University of Maryland School of Public Policy, has looked carefully at the promise of an education windfall.
The gambling revenue that comes in is earmarked for education, so the answer is yes. But as we all know, money's fungible, and more money that comes in one pot can replace money that otherwise might have been spent that would go to another pot.
Kettle says neither side is telling the whole truth on school money, but he says the opponents have stretched the facts more.
I think it's a three-tier approach. 1 is gaming. That's a big element to it. 2 would be entertainment, shopping. 3 would be building up your business tax base. And I think many of my constituents in Prince George's County are tired of traveling and letting all this money go out of the state of Maryland. If we can keep it in Maryland, provide Prince Georgians jobs, Maryland folks jobs, then many people feel question 7 is the way to go.
Organized gambling has perpetrated a fraud on the Maryland voter by claiming that gambling in casinos is going to mean more money for education. It patently is not. It has not since we brought slots in. It will not in the future. Calling it a destination casino does not make it so. There are casinos in Detroit. There are casinos all over the United States that have been failing.
Is National Harbor a destination resort?
It's not going to be a destination casino. It won't.
That's in my district. You've got to know your district. And I hate to say it, stay in your lane.
You have to know why people gamble. And they're not gambling. They're not coming to National. They're going to go to Vegas or they're going to go to Atlantic City or other places.
Talk about that.
Leah Burks and Irene Huskins are closely watching Maryland's same-sex marriage referendum. The Prince George's County couple are raising 2 children together and want to be able to marry.
The love that we share for each other, we want to be acknowledged and recognized because we want to join the ranks of those that are married, that believe in marriage, that want to have happy and healthy families and homes.
A recent poll has 54% of Maryland voters supporting gay marriage, but historically, opponents have done better than polls showed when it came time to vote.
This thing's going to come down to probably a 51-49.
But gaming could change the stakes. Pollster Stephen Hankin says just having gaming on the ballot could help opponents defeat same-sex marriage.
There could be a swing of anywhere from 2 to 4 points based on the casinos being on the ballot. And anytime you're dealing with a 50-50 proposition, a point or two can make the difference between passing and not passing.
Gaming will likely be a high-dollar campaign that could drown out other measures. The anti-gaming side will target socially conservative voters, giving them additional reason to vote all the way down the ballot, and they are least likely to support gay marriage. It's a potential catch-22 for Maryland's governor, who is pushing the gaming initiative and has backed gay marriage, hoping to make it part of his legislative legacy as he eyes a possible presidential run in 2016. Editorials in GLBT media expressed concern and even criticized the governor, one writing, "He's literally gambling with our rights."
I hope that it doesn't get drowned out, that marriage equality does not get drowned out.
Leaving Burks and Huskins wondering if their right to marry could be decided by a governor's roll of the political dice.
I'm hopeful that people will vote based on what's right and what's fair.
Our Vote 2012 debate series continues with question 6, the ballot measure that would give gay and lesbian couples in Maryland the right to marry.
Here's the deal. People have very emotional, strong feelings about this. And to call people of faith to say that they're off base because they have these beliefs is wrong. They're not raising
No,
red
we
herrings.
don't care what beliefs they have. That's not the point to this bill. This allows people to have equal access to everything that everyone else has.
No,
you do not have to change your faith
I have to
at all.
disagree with that because
we have picked ourselves up. We have fought our way back. And we know in our hearts that for the United States of America, the best is yet to come.
This week on Inside Washington, the post-election review. You know, some pundits and pollsters have egg all over their faces. What made the difference for this one, Mark?
Well, the president, when you win a campaign, give some credit to the campaign. And there was an enormous effort. And people disparaged their get out the vote effort, their ground game. It was superb. It surpassed anything that we'd seen before. And the president himself, obviously, was the face and voice of that campaign. At the same time, in a year when Americans were furious at 2 addresses in this country, Pennsylvania Avenue at both ends and Wall Street, the Republicans chose as their standard bearer an investment banker, private equity, Cayman Islands, Swiss bank accounts, buying and foreclosing places. I mean, if there was a time you needed a Chris Christie, you know, real guy that's going to have a shot and a beer with you and talk to people who are trying to get their rent money together, this was it, and Mitt Romney wasn't.
This is Battleground Virginia, an ABC7 Vote 2012 news special.
Everybody feeling good?
At Obama's Falls Church headquarters, a very specific rally cry.
All of you who have a stake in this election can't just sit around at home.
Asian American voters are being targeted in a way unlike the past. Customized signs and stickers in multiple languages, and on this day, some star power too, actor B.D. Wong.
It behooves the campaign
either campaign really, to reach out to these communities and speak to them in their own languages.
It's big difference because there's percentage of us who there's a barriers to English.
Are you surprised that you're seeing all this outreach?
Nope, no surprise at all.
All of that translates into
很重要，11月份6號
get out and vote. Meanwhile, at the Eden Center, a different tune.
Hãy bầu cho ông Romney.
Vote Romney, this small businessman says, a fan of lowering tax rates and not a fan of Obamacare.
I came from Vietnam. Everything is national life. That's why I don't like. His idea tried to, I don't want to say communist, you know, but the idea is exactly the same.
Our vote this time is very important, even critical, might tip the balance.
Case in point, 2006, Jim Webb beats George Allen by 0.5%, and 3 out of 4 Asian Americans voted Webb. In 2008, they voted Obama over McCain by a margin of 3-1. And keep in mind, their numbers have doubled to almost 14% of Northern Virginians.
We see that the power of the Vietnamese vote is really important.
And judging by the amount of posters and press, the campaigns see it too.
He's the son of a legendary NFL Hall of Fame coach. Allen uses sports as a way to easily connect with voters and the media.
What college did you go to?
I went to Howard University.
Howard, the Bisons.
University of Michigan.
Michigan, my father went there.
George Allen's father in the 1970s earned the Washington Redskins their first Super Bowl spot. Allen went to UVA, served in the Virginia General Assembly, then was elected governor, congressman, and senator. Rival Tim Cain was the son of a welder from Kansas City who became a lawyer and teacher in Richmond. His wife Ann is the daughter of former Republican Governor Linwood Holton, who still campaigns for his son-in-law. Cain served in the Richmond City Council and as mayor before becoming governor in 2006. The Harvard Law grad uses his harmonica to show his down-home skills. Touted as a successful governor, some say Cain's challenge is emerging from the shadows of the man he served as lieutenant governor.
Let me present to you His former Excellency and the future junior senator from Virginia, our friend Tim Cain.
The challenge for George Allen in this campaign is convincing voters he deserves a second chance after losing his Senate seat in 2006.
What was some of the soul searching perhaps that you did after that loss?
Well, I didn't like losing. It's a humbling experience. I think it was most important to say not just what we're against, but say what you're for.
He says he's more focused this time on grassroots organization and looks for every opportunity to reach voters.
This is a dish anybody can make.
Okay. Both men are fathers who also point to their faith as guideposts on social issues. Allen is pro-life, believing in exceptions only for the life of the mother, rape, or incest, but thinks the federal government has a limited role.
Generally speaking, I think that the parameters on abortion ought to be determined not by the federal government, but allowed by the states can make those decisions. I don't think the taxpayer should pay for elective abortions.
Cain says his faith as a devout Catholic does not contradict his pro-choice political stance.
Given your beliefs and as a Catholic, do you wish the Democratic Party did more to try and steer women away from abortion, or to try and...
Sure. Look, I think, I don't know a single person who is pro-abortion. Everybody I know wants there to be fewer abortions. You don't have to criminalize women's health care choices if you want to reduce abortions.
With only 2 weeks left, voters are carefully weighing both men's records in a race that could determine the balance of power in the U.S. Senate. On the campaign trail, Rebecca Cooper for Battleground Virginia.
The 5,000 block of Rolling Road in Springfield, Virginia,
we've got the best corner in the neighborhood,
is a bipartisan case study in political ingenuity.
Anybody is allowed to have a big sign.
A few weeks ago, June Blackwell had her Obama sign swiped.
I got a little irritated.
So with a tarp and a marked down can of paint, she made her own.
Obama, yes. Biden, yes. Cain, yes. Connolly, yes.
And took out an insurance policy of sorts.
Caution tape, my no trespassing sign, my security camera sign to let people know, hey, I'm watching you.
But only a few houses away.
Well, that's pretty creative, and we thought about doing that too.
Eric Schaefer shares a similar tale, but from the other side of the aisle. You see, in August, a car pulled into his driveway.
And he casually got out and took the Romney sign away.
And when this diehard Republican replaced his Romney sign, He hung it high in a tree and armed it with an alarm. If someone pulls too hard. Oh, and did we mention Schaefer is a retired electrical technician?
This whole place is being video recorded all the time.
His specialty? Installing cameras. So when the sign thieves struck during rush hour, he captured it on video.
I can catch them every time from now on.
In the end, neither sign-stealing case was solved. But the victims along Rolling Road did not let a crime wilt their political will.
You know, you can take my sign, but you can't take my free speech.